the police, they decide to raid the wrong house. The judge that signed the warrant has done this before. It led to death. Put up the picture full mass. The same Kentucky judge who signed off on the Breonna Taylor warrant, leading to the shooting death of the innocent woman at the hands of the Louisville police, signed another warrant without probable cause that could have led to the shooting deaths of more innocent people. Instead, the man, woman, and child they raided and handcuffed, who were doing nothing but painting the home for new tenants, will receive a settlement, $180,000 according to WDRB. In fact, the man police were hoping to find at the home that day, despite evidence that he even lived there, had already been arrested on drug charges at the time of the raid. They did not do their due diligence. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. According to the scathing reports, including from the United States Department of Justice, that type of incompetency and lack of oversight are more than the rule than the exception with this particular police department. Quote, we have reasonable cause to believe that LMPD engages in a pattern or practice of seeking search warrants in ways that deprive individuals of their rights under the Fourth Amendment. According to the U.S. Department of Justice report, this was issued March 8th, 2023, quote, a significant number of LMPD search warrant applications fail to satisfy the constitutional requirement of being supported by probable cause. Let me back up before we get into the rest of the story. What is the federal government saying? They're saying that these violations where there's seemingly a mistake, an over representation or misrepresentation, is not a mistake at all. And when these things happen, it is not one of these exceptions. They operate like this as a rule, which means it is cultural, even though against the law. It is cultural. So if it's cultural, you can't just look at the police because police can't sign their own warrants. Judges sign the warrant. So you have a bed of corruption, according to the Department of Justice, between the judiciary and the policing division. There's more. The second report, titled the Heinz Report, described a culture of acceptance at the department from judges and supervisors in approving no-knock search warrants, the most dangerous of them all. The no-knock raid in question took place July 15th, 2019, 8 months before the no-knock warrant or raid on Taylor's home that led to her shooting death. Circuit Court Judge Mary Shaw signed off on both warrants right there. And probably many more during her, how long? Damn near 20-year career as a judge, which ended recently in 2023 after she lost the re-election. Louisville Metro Police Officer Wesley Troutman had spent 5 months investigating an alleged drug dealer named Joshua Kirk. When he asked the judge, Judge Shaw, to sign the warrant, that's according to the official record. The officer, Troutman, listed 13 controlled purchases of drugs to support the warrant. 13 controlled purchases of drugs, including 2 occasions at the house they ended up raiding, even though there was only 1 instance of him even entering the home for a few minutes. The lawsuit states that police raided the same home on July 5th, 2019, 10 days before the raid in question, which led to all occupants in the house moving out. Days later, Roy Stucker was hired to paint the home along with his girlfriend, Courtney Brown Porter, and her 10-year-old daughter. These are working people. They even brought the daughter along, okay? In the early hours of July 15, 2019, when police were planning on serving the search warrant, Officer Trotman arrested Kirk at another location and took him to jail. Now, that is the person who was under official investigation, Kirk. But rather than try to call the raid off, he got his guy, took him to jail, and went home. And did not call off the damn raid that he coordinated. The hell? Wait a minute. If you're looking for the guy and you got the guy, you the police, you call the police and say, hey, I got the guy, you know, that raid. We don't need to do the raid anymore. There's only one Kirk here that we were investigating. At least 10 officers arrived. Okay? 2 in armored vehicles. Just imagine this. And you're at work and you've brought your 10-year-old daughter with you. 2 armored vehicles, 10 cops, and at least 1 ATV. This is a military attack. They approach the house, they yell, quote, police with a warrant. Seconds before they started breaking every window. Quote, please, this is a job. We don't live here. You can hear Brown Porter pleading with them. You're really going to put my daughters in handcuffs? Is the second question you hear. They put the 10-year-old in handcuffs. The cops separated all 3 individuals as they searched the home, finding nothing illegal. The 3 remained in handcuffs for 20 minutes. The couple filed a lawsuit which was dismissed at the district level on the basis that the cops had enough probable cause to conduct the raid. You're back to a version of qualified immunity. However, an appellate court overturned the dismissal after realizing the degree of search warrants being handed without the prerequisite of probable cause. Quote, they, meaning the police, treated us horrible. I mean, worse than if we was what he was looking for. Talking bad about us, cuss her out, getting upset, stuck a road. They talk bad to the 10-year-old. Okay, so you all are incapable of doing real police work. Your lack of credibility, your lack of skill, detective prowess has already led to the death of at least one person, possibly more. And you have now traumatized a family. But in that, the other side of that, every time you all do this, you defund the police. So now you're paying a settlement to this family. You had to pay a settlement for the previous one we know of record. I'm sure there are more to come. How does this happen? This happens because no one said anything. There were those who knew about this before Ms. Taylor was killed. There are those who were aware of this corruption. And now it is so bad that the Department of Justice has gone on record officially to say what these individuals are doing is not the exception. These are not mistakes. This is more of the rule for them. Jackson, it is a hell of a thing when one law enforcement entity who has charged nobody, they have not charged anyone here with a criminal act, but they have gone on record to say they act criminally as the rule and not as the exception. That's a hell of a statement, man. What say you?
It's a hell of a statement, and it shows how long this has been going on, and it shows how much it really can't be ignored because of qualified immunity and just the general culture of protecting police at all costs in this country. You know that you're messing up if the Department of Justice is saying something. But I think that the most important part of this whole story is the fact that Judge Shaw was on that bench for 20 years and that she got voted out. Oftentimes, people who, whether it's the police precinct, the judges, the district attorneys, whoever that is, they'll be in these positions for 15, 20, 30 years. And oftentimes, people in the communities have never heard of them, don't know who they are. And, it's not necessarily because people are dumb, but these elections, these campaigns aren't really advertised very much on television. But this really shows us not only how important it is to be involved, but that if we are involved in our communities, that things can change. We can get people out. We can actually shake things up. we can't expect the federal government to do things in our direct communities, because in a lot of ways that's not their job to do that. So again, I think the most important part of this is that Shaw was on that bench for 20 years and now she's gone because people voted.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Very well said. All right. We'll bring you updates as they come.